having that significant release. So we were excited about that, and yes, it's very frustrating to know that all of that work we've done, that some folks might look at it as if we've not been proactive about addressing issues here in Valdosta.
So, does this mean another 365 days of testing around the area?
That is correct. That is correct. We will begin a new testing regiment. We've already contacted the state. Our laboratory technicians are already out there daily collecting samples and getting those samples in the incubators and the other test products that they need to get those samples into, so that we can get the results and make them available.
Do those results typically take a little bit to get back? Have you gotten any results back?
Yeah, we do a bacteriological test. Typically it takes 24 hours. We have to take that sample, put it in the incubator, and cultivate it for 24 hours, and then measure the amount of colonies that have grown in that. So at minimum 24 hours before we'll have any data on what the colony counts were.
Gotcha.
Does it affect the actual city water supply directly?
Well, we'll find out. We hate to say yes, we hate to say no. It is over a mile, approximately a mile and a half to the Withlacoochee from where the release was. So we'll be collecting samples where Sugar Creek empties into the Withlacoochee, and we'll have a better idea of what effect this release has had on the river once that information is available.
And I know that Hamilton and Madison counties have already been issued warrants from the Department of...
Yes, the city of Valdosta contacted them even prior to the state contacting them. So we've formed an alliance with that group, and we're working together to make the ecosystem as friendly as it can be, with all the humans around. But the city manager notified them when he was alerted of the incident.
Does North Florida actually get the brunt of whenever we have these spills, since they're downhill? I mean, obviously they've complained a bit since we've had these issues in Valdosta.
Well,
how much of an issue, and how collaborative is it? Do they get frustrated, or are you guys working hand in hand?
Oh yeah. They're frustrated as well. We work closely with them. We have provided them lab results, and they've started to collect some lab results of their own. We collect data at the Georgia-Florida line. Fortunately, it's over 20 miles as the river flows from where the Withlacoochee leaves the city area, although it never actually enters the city, but the perimeter of the city, is over 20 miles down to the next community in the state line in Florida. So, we've collected data there that suggests that there's not as much effect, but there's also been data collected that suggests that the water quality is reduced when it gets down to the state line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything else you want people to know about it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thing I would like folks to know. We've had some comments that we may not have been as proactive as we should have been. The city spent millions of dollars, and the SPLOST just passed, and Utilities Department is slated to spend in excess of $40 million again over the next 4 to 5 years on the sewer collection system. We're proud of the work we've done. It's unfortunate that as a result of trying to deploy some of that new technology that will give us advanced alerts, that this is actually what caused this latest release. But we're going to continue to work diligently. We'll continue to make sure that our folks are committed to doing it, and we know that the city council and the city manager and the citizens of Valdosta are also committed. If they weren't, they would not have voted for some additional funding to be used by the Utilities Department.
I think my last question would be, so because it sounds like this was literally an error of just something was not plugged in correctly, how easy was it for you guys to remedy what happened to keep it from happening again?
Well, there's a couple of things that we've done. Of course, we plugged the plug back in, and immediately the station started to function properly. But we're also looking at some other alerts that could have been cited, some things some ways that we may have gotten an even earlier notice of a potential event. But we were one thing, there was a red light flashing there, and citizens were driving by it. We really urge citizens, when you see something that you think may be out of the ordinary at any of these facilities, city-owned facilities, and there's a red light flashing, just pick up the phone and call somebody so that we can respond more quickly. Also, our staff at the wastewater plant, we're really proud of what they did. They did not get an alert that there was an issue. They were monitoring their normal performance at the plant and realized that their flows had reduced coming into the plant. So they alerted us, and we were able to respond pretty quickly. Also, when the SCADA system, this system that resulted in the release, that's part of the fix for it. That system will give us advance notice whenever we have a pump failure or a wire unplugged or a pump that is not functioning properly, or just a high level. If we get increased rainfall and the water levels start to come into the facility more quickly, we'll be able to be alerted as well.
So that's the irony, is that the whole problem came from trying to avoid it.
Yes, us working to get that advance notice. But crews are still out there. We're working diligently, removing grease out of the systems, and working to make sure the system flows as freely as possible.
7.5 million gallons. How long of a span of time was that amount overflowing?
That 7.5 million gallons was over a 4.5 day period. So about 1.5 million or so a day it was flowing, was not being pumped into the treatment facility. So it wasn't an immediate release of 7.5 million gallons. It was and 7.5 million. I don't want to make that sound as if it's a trickle, but it was just a steady release over an extended period of time. So we think in the long run that helped us, as opposed to having an immediate release of 7.5, which would have caused continuous flow through the stream by it coming out incrementally as it did. It allowed Mother Nature to do some work for us, but we'll have the results of how effective that was within the next few hours.